All right, we're back, and it's time for everybody's favorite little segment here. This is the sleepers at the wide receiver position. These are the guys that are going outside the top 100 in Yahoo ADP over the last 7 days. Got 6 guys for us to discuss here. And frankly, if you're familiar with my brand, you're probably not surprised by a lot of these names here. I'd also like to add Jalen Coker to the mix here as well. Some of my skepticism with Tedero McMillan is just, I think Jalen Coker is a stone cold baller, but what can you do? All right, let's talk Josh Downs though here first, Ray, because number one, I know this is a player you and I have discussed in the past. And number two, producer JB. That's right. I talk about producer Colin probably too much on the show. JB, he's the guy who's really got the whole program on his back. He tells me that the YouTube chat is fiending for some Josh Downs talk. That's how I know I've collected the right people here on this show. They're fiending for their Josh Downs talk. So, Ray, are you in or are you out on Josh Downs as a sleeper at the 113th overall pick?
Yeah, Matt, I got him projected pretty high. I need Josh Downs on the field, Matt. And anybody that's familiar with me since his time at North Carolina, my biggest thing is I need Downs on the field. Stay on the field. But yeah, Antoine's limping around. I don't even want to hear any of the other receivers there. I just don't. I don't want to hear it. Don't even mention
Treadwell,
it.
You're not hoping for the year.
Listen, I've
11
already
breakout.
Treylon Burks' name today. We're not going Treadwell. I'm not getting that dirty right now, Matt. But yeah, it should be Downs and Warren. I mean, it should be Downs and Warren. So outside the top 100, the spirit of this, I think he's in line for higher targets than this. I've got him projected for more than this as well. So just stay on the field, Josh.
Yeah, it just has to be healthy. And of course, right now he's dealing with a little bit of a groin injury, but not a huge deal. He should be available this week for practice. Not too worried about that. But yeah, and I think there's just no way he is. And no, I am not doing any pen eating bets. Okay. I'm not doing that this year. So Johnny, airport number 2, get back on the plane. You're staying on the tarmac. We're not launching any airport bets. So apologies for the audio listeners. They're not seeing the YouTube comment. They're, surprise. Here comes that. Yeah. This is the year for Josh Downs. Okay. All right. As long as he's able to stay healthy.
Let him have it, YouTube. Let him have it, YouTube.
Yeah, come at me. I'm not worried about it. As long as Josh Downs stays healthy, this is the year for Downs. There is no way he is not playing in 2 receiver sets. And frankly, I don't even know if that matters that much. Like he is one of their best 11 players on offense. They're not going to have him be a 50% snap player. If anything, I wouldn't do the fantasy pen eating bet for Josh Downs. I would do like a route percentage when he's healthy pen eating bet, but I'm also not going to do that because I've matured since last year. So yeah, Downs at this point, he's a good player. He will be highly targeted. I believe he will be on the field, Ray.
Matt, can I ask you this real quick? And I know you'll talk about it throughout the various shows, but in a situation like this where a vertical stretcher, right? Alec Pierce is out and we've got these teams that could go to some heavier sets. Do you think Downs could work in 1 receiver set sporadically for Indianapolis if Pierce isn't out there? Like, are they really going to put Nick Westbrook? You're going to put your most talented guy out there. Would they give him a chance to do it? And does that give him a little more upside there if they try to deploy something like that?
Now, if they had by the way, this team probably shouldn't have rage traded A.D. Mitchell in the middle of last year. That does seem a little short-sighted at this point.
Probably.
That seems a little bit short-sighted, even though A.D. does have his limitations, not one of the sleepers we're talking about here in this segment. However, God, the thing is, we saw even last year, the Chargers would take Ladd McConkey off the field in those 1 receiver sets, and it would be Trey Harris because he's simply just bigger and a better blocker. Mm-hmm. And that's a way, to me, I feel like you conserve down. So I'd be pretty surprised if he was like the lone receiver of 13 personnel for this team. Okay. But Pierce, when he's healthy, fits that pretty much perfectly. So I'm going to throw some of the other names out here that I had listed as sleepers, and you tell me which one draws your eye the most. Jaden Reed at 119 overall, Michael Wilson 111 overall, Quentin Johnson 101 overall, Casey Concepcion 132 overall. You can throw Denzel Boston in there if you want to. Todd Monken said today he's going to get some first team run as the X receiver. And I threw Travis Hunter out as 126th overall ADP. We know the deal with Hunter. He could be something. He could be totally nothing. So any of those guys you really gravitate to as a sleeper here?
I'm not going to say Michael Wilson, okay? I'm just not going to do it. I love Michael Wilson. Everybody knows I love Michael Wilson. I'm going to stay away from Travis Hunter.
You talked about him last week.
Yeah, I'm going to stay. I want to bring up Jaden Reed, because all I'm seeing is, hell, I had Christian Watson in one of the green lights, Matthew Golden taking a step. I heard nobody discussing Jaden Reed right now. And like when I projected him, he projected pretty well. I like how they use him in different areas throughout the field. We know he plays in the slot, but one thing that I keep coming back to is when they get inside that money zone, 5-yard line, they're always scheming up stuff for him. Crossing across the field, some orbit motion to get him the ball and use his yak ability to run it in. Like, are we kind of underrating how good Jaden Reed can be for an offense that we think could be pretty good? No one really talks about Jaden Reed, Matt.
Yeah, he kind of goes in the no man's land between Christian Watson and Matthew Golden. And look, I have questions about Matthew Golden, but I also think his ADP is so late that you might as well take shots. I'm not opposed to taking Matthew Golden, but I have a lot of confidence in Reed as the 119th overall player, as I mentioned. Wasn't healthy last year, just pretty much a lost year for him from the beginning. Remember, he had the foot injury in training camp, and then he tried to play through that, and he broke his collarbone in week 2, and then he had surgery on both injuries last year. So kind of a lost season for him. The Packers still give him a contract extension. He's another one, Ray, similar with Downs, where the variable for him has been, is he going to play in 2 receiver sets? I think it's more likely that Downs plays in 2 receiver sets more than Jaden Reed. One, because I think Downs is a better route runner and a better separator against man coverage, but Reed is still capable there. I just also think it matters less in Green Bay because this looks like a team that's going to play a lot of 11 personnel. They traded their depth receivers to play these 3 guys, Watson, Reed, and Golden. And their second tight end with Luke Musgrave banged up is like nobody. So I think they'll play 11 personnel. Their defense is going to be worse this year. Their run game is probably going to be a little bit worse this year. There's a chance that we're just underrating the pass volume. And if anyone's underrating Jaden Reed, the player, I'll be buying stock on Jaden Reed, who I think is a very good and proven player in the NFL.
I just wanted to touch on that one. I mean, they're going to run 11. Like you said, Musgrave I don't even know who the 2 or 3 tight end would be in Green Bay. I want to see what Golden develops into. I'm with you. He gets drafted so late. I want to bet on the draft capital. I want to bet on the talent. I just think Reed is this, what people normally do is they'll just click Watson and let somebody else draft Reed. But I do think there's a little bit extra there with Jaden Reed if he's healthy this season. That's the big thing. Is he healthy?
Casey Concepcion, I do think is a really interesting sleeper this year, man. We talked about him as a prospect, and it's the Browns. I get it. Yet he's still somebody that goes so late that him and Jordan Tyson was the other player that we didn't mention earlier that was a green light for me that I've kind of like. Casey's a guy I always knew I'd be in on because I know he's going to go late, 132nd overall. But like Jordan Tyson in the 90s is a pick. I just want to actually touch on him real quick before we go to break. He's somebody I've really warmed up to this year because number one, he's healthy. And I just think there's so much opportunity. And where he wins as a route runner against zone coverage on some of these breaking routes, especially breaking outside the numbers, really complements Chris Olave, what he does well. So Tyson is a guy that doesn't quite qualify for this segment because he goes inside the top 100, but I do think is a really viable rookie sleeper this year. As some of the other rookies like Mekhi Lemon, not practicing at this point. Like I've gotten a little more excited about some of these other rookies right now. I think you're muted, Ray.
Yeah, I was muted. I was like, that was a good one. We're talking sleepers, and you said Mekhi Lemon. I'm just going to say the name Dontavian Wicks, and I'm going to get to Casey Concepcion.
Oh. We'll put a pin in Wicks. We're going to talk about him in the next segment. Okay. Sadly enough.
Okay. The Cleveland receiving room, it should just be Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion. It really should be. But
yes,
Jerry Jeudy's
really
going to be on the field. It should be. But Judy's going to be out there for as long as he's on that team. We talked about him being a trade candidate. I like Casey and I like Boston. I just think Boston he's the Cedric Tillman, right? Like the one that can stay healthy. At least in that iteration of Cleveland's offense, downfield, everything that you see Boston doing is posts downfield. He did that at Washington. That's what he did at Washington. So I like both KC and Boston, and I'm hoping that those are the 2 that they just end up rolling with at some point sooner rather than later.
Yeah, listen, I know it's just training camps, but I don't see a lot of good reviews of Jerry Jeudy in training camp from the Cleveland Browns reporters and everything like that. Maybe I'm following the wrong people, so correct me if I'm wrong there. Todd Monken's not a guy that's going to be like, oh, well, I got to play him because of his salary. He's going to play the best guys. He's going to play the guys he likes, and I think he pretty clearly likes Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. Now, of course, Cleveland quarterback situation, they're really trying to make sure it's Deshaun Watson. I think they're giving Deshaun Watson the heavy edge, but I think we see Shedeur at some point. I think Shedeur can get these guys to football enough to like evaluate them and for them to be, again, we're not saying they're definitely going to work out, but they're sleepers in your drafts this year.